Hello, everybody. Welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door and join us for our championship preview and predictions, round 31. Yes, here we are again at lunchtime. Look, it's a 3-game week. We're going to be back with some kind of super stream tonight. We'll figure out the day as we go. But not enough time to fit all the shows in, let's just say. So we're here at lunchtime. Apologies if you're expecting us in the evening. But if you're watching after the fact, then great to see you too. But even better to see people in the chat right here and now. And we need your help with predictions for each of the 12 games in the midweek round in the championship. Do get involved before we go any further. Please hit that thumbs up button if you are in the chat. Help us out. Help the stream climb the rankings here. Hey to Eugene and Ewan and Dave and Robert and Hamza, JC, MR, Jonathan, Will, Eddie, Achilles Last Stand, Kieran, Stephen, Adam. Good. I think we've got plenty of people in the chat. Hopefully more and more will join. James, Daniel as well. That's all the hellos I'm going to say. I'll say one more then. Gary's here as well. Right, we're going to get into the games imminently, but what I do need you to do, and you've still got 30 seconds to do it, head over to football365.com, head along the top menu, and you will see the Championship Predictor game. You can then sign up with your email address and get involved in the predictions. We got a leaderboard and all of that good stuff. So football365.com, Championship Predictor. We're also partnered up with Betfair.com with these shows, and for every prediction we make, we will give you the odds. And if you fancy, you can head over to betfair.com and utilize that information in any way you see fit. Of course, please gamble responsibly if you're going to have a bet. Only bet what you can afford. 18 plus, only begambleaware.org. Right, before we get into game number one, a big thank you as ever to the Donovan brothers, who are our Patreon sponsors of this show, and they sponsor in memory of their dad Dennis, brother Mike, both sorely missed and cheering on Millwall from above. Thank you to the Donovans. You too, if you want to, go and get involved. Patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. You don't have to sponsor a show. That's only the GOAT tier up there. We thank the people who've done that. But I think the lowest tier is about £2 or something. You get involved in the Patreon Q&As and come on the round table. Come and chew the fat with me over on Patreon. Right, the games are ticking along the bottom as ever. We will go from top down to bottom. If you've got a problem with that, tell your team to sort themselves out, or at least play against the team that's up the top of the table, and we'll hear about your team first. All I need to know from you is home, away, or draw as ever. You can give me a scoreline if we want. What we do like you to do is play your joker at some point. You don't have to, but you can justify any result in the championship with joker. And statistically, there will be a 0-0 somewhere, so feel free to play your 0-0 card as ever. And normal rules apply on predictions. It's a bit of fun. Anybody is allowed to predict whatever they like. We don't know the future. And please don't take any predictions I or anybody else makes personally. I get at least one email every single week after the prediction saying, oh, you predicted my team to lose. Well, we're definitely going to win now. Come on. It's a bit of fun. It's a little bit of fun. So let's let the fun begin with Fulham versus Millwall. Get your predictions in. Fulham, draw, Millwall. Fulham, draw, Millwall. Are you keeping your joker in your pocket? Are you keeping your 0-0 card in your pocket? I suspect you are. Millwall challenging Fulham in this one. Fulham at home, and Fulham at the top of the championship in first place, and 5 points clear with 2 games in hand on Blackburn in second. They score an ungodly amount of goals. However, they did draw their last game at home to Blackpool, and they did get a little bit of a tonking off Man City. I don't really know what we read into a away defeat at Man City. That happens to many more higher teams in the pyramid than Fulham, and there is no higher team in the pyramid in the championship than Fulham. Millwall, well, 4 points in 2 after a bit of a losing streak, but they're down in 15th, and we do traditionally over the past 3-4 years expect Millwall to be a little bit higher than that, but this is a hard game. Predictions in, please. Fulham draw, Millwall, home draw, away, however you want to call it. Let's give you the numbers on this one. As you can imagine, very heavily in Fulham's favour on the previous metrics. Fulham in the table by 14. Fulham in the form table only by 6, actually. in the XG by 14 as well. Homes and aways by 13. Goals scored by 18. Goals conceded, this is an interesting one, only by 2. So maybe they could squidge out something low-scoring Millwall. I don't know. What are you lot saying in the chat? Let's try and click on as many of these predictions as possible. Where should we start? Here. Fulham, Mill, Fulham, draw. Fulham, draw. 92 seconds of glory. Yes, Fulham did lead at Man City. I should point that out, shouldn't I? Fulham, draw. Fulham. We are fairly heavy on Fulham on this one. I agree with you. Like, it's hard to go against Fulham, and there's a good argument for the bounce back, isn't there? Let's go home on this one. I think Millwall can keep the score down because they're good at that under Gary Rowett, but I do still see a couple of goals for Fulham in this game, which would take them over 75 if they can score 2. I'm going to go 2-0 to Fulham in this one. Do get involved. Football365.com. There's the predictor game. Go and sign up with your email and play along as we go. See if you can beat me. That's not hard. 5-1 with our partners, betfair.com. Please gamble responsibly if you fancy that one. 2-0. Right, onward to the next one. Blackburn versus Forest. Good luck with this one, you lot. I might just leave you to it. Blackburn, draw or Forest? Blackburn, draw or Forest? Now, these sides are separated by 6 places and 10 points. But that's not the whole story, because obviously Forest have come from that lowly position. Had a really, really good FA Cup win as well. Lots of sort of superlatives heading Steve Cooper's way. He did lose his last game in the Championship against Cardiff, somewhat surprisingly. Blackburn, are we having the slip? Is it a slip from Blackburn? 4 points in 4. So 1 point per game over the last 4 games for Blackburn. Only 1 win in that time. 2 defeats. 1 coming away at Hull. 1 coming away at Swansea. If that slips to 5 points from 5 games or 6 points from 6 games, they will get overtaken, won't they? You need to be ahead of a point per game. So we'll see. Can Blackburn bounce back from a slightly sticky run recently? It's no criticism. They've been really, really good. But if you want to be in the top 2, it needs to be, you know, above 1.6, 1.7 points per game as a minimum. In your bad runs, even, and you've got to mitigate them. Get your predictions in. Blackburn, draw, Forest. Blackburn, draw or Forest. The numbers tell us Blackburn in the table by 6. In the form, Forest by 1. In the XG, Blackburn by 2. It's tight. Homes and aways, this is not tight. Blackburn by 6. And over the past 8 games, Blackburn have the best home record in the league. Interesting one, this. In terms of goals conceded, they're tied. And in terms of goals scored, they both like a goal. Does one cancel the other out? Do these 2 teams cancel each other out? A hard one to call. Blackburn and Nottingham Forest. Let's have a look. Where shall we start? Here, 2-1 for Chris. Draw. Forest, draw. Forest, draw. Blackburn, lots of draws. Forest, Blackburn, Forest. There's the first 0-0 card. Forest. Another draw there. A loss would mean 13-point gap to the top 2. I suspect Forest are more looking at the playoffs than the top 2. But hey, a fact is a fact. A 0-0, a draw. Yes, we should get the return of the... Or are we not getting the return of the Chilean sensation? I don't know. We'll look into that one. Forest there for Balboca at the bottom. I'm with a lot of you lot, and I did make these predictions before we sat down. I can prove that by lifting up the pad, which I will do at the end of the conversation. But I'm with you guys. Draw! I'm down the middle. I just feel that Forest will have enough control over this fixture to go away with a point. Maybe not to go away and win, but it's very evenly matched. It's one of those where I can comfortably say, without sitting on the fence, any outcome wouldn't surprise me here. A Blackburn win, a Forest win, or a draw. None would surprise me, frankly. So we'll go with a draw, and I'll go with 1-1, which you'll get 5-1 from Betfair on Go and get your own predictions in on the Football 365 predictor game. We are going to move on and talk about Bournemouth versus Birmingham. Get your predictions in. All eyes on Bournemouth. Bournemouth draw Birmingham. Bournemouth draw Birmingham. Get your predictions in. Bournemouth, go big or go home. They went big in the transfer window. Very strong looking Bournemouth squad now. But they're not in good form. They needed the strengthening. And they lost to Boreham Wood in the FA Cup. Birmingham, I quite like the look of the strengthening from Birmingham. I like Bakuna. I like Hernandez. He looks at it. Taylor scored a couple of goals. But how long before we get a trend up? I think it will come. Will it come straight away, though, for Blues? They're 3 without a win. They're 2 points in the last 3 games. Bournemouth did have 2 straight defeats in this last 3 games. They lost to Luton and they lost to Hull, but they did go and beat Barnsley. But everybody's beating Barnsley at the moment. Get your predictions in. Bournemouth draw, Birmingham, Bournemouth draw, or Birmingham. The numbers, Bournemouth by 15 in the table, Bournemouth by 8 in the form table, but Bournemouth are 13th in the form table, so they're not in the top half. XG, Bournemouth by 8 again. Homes and aways, Bournemouth by 6. Goals, Bournemouth by 10. Goals conceded, Bournemouth by 19. So if defences are anything to go by, then Bournemouth strong favourites in this one. Let's see what you guys are saying. Can you see another Bournemouth slip-up? Are any jokers going to be coming out on this one? Bournemouth, draw. There's one for Birmingham. Taylor to score again. He scored in both his games, hasn't he? Bournemouth. Some jokers come in. Bournemouth, where am I? Bournemouth, Desmond, Blues there. A couple of jokers coming in. Another one there. Welcome, Wayne. Draw, Bournemouth. A few jokers here. Went a bit Kevin and Perry there, didn't I? Draw. And another draw at the bottom there. Look, I acknowledge that Bournemouth are not in great form. I think Birmingham will improve, but I do think this one goes with Bournemouth. Home. I think it's a home win just. I think quality's they're going to be able to bully their way through this one. Not in terms of style of play, but I think they'll just have too much. So I'm going to go Bournemouth by 1, and let's assume Birmingham are going to score as well. So let's go for a 2-1-er. 13-2 you'll get over at Betfair on Bournemouth 2, Birmingham 1. And if my predictions come to pass, I've got Blackburn to draw and Bournemouth to win. That would put Bournemouth above Blackburn into second place. Let's go on. What about this one then? QPR versus Middlesbrough. Anybody? 4th place versus 7th place. Another hard one to call. So get your predictions in. QPR, draw, Borough. Rangers, draw, Borough. Borough, heroic in the FA Cup. Take a bow. Borough won at Old Trafford on penalties. QPR got knocked out, but QPR are in fine form in the league. Let's be honest. Both of these sides are in really good form. In the last 5 games, QPR have got 13 points, which is amazing. They've only dropped 2. Borough have got 12. Something has got to give in this one. So get your predictions in. QPR draw or Borough. QPR draw or Borough. Here come the numbers in the table. Rangers by 3. In the form, Borough by 3. XG, Borough by 9. Homes and aways, QPR by 3. And then, really interestingly, QPR have the 3rd best goal scoring record. Middlesbrough have the 3rd best defensive record. What cancels out what here? Will it be defences reign supreme, in which case you'd favour Borough? If it's attacks, Borough's attack misfires. And I tell you what, Willock and Chair do not misfire. So if it's attacks, I'm with QPR. If it's defences, I'm with Borough. Managers, maybe I've just got slightly wilder over Warburton. What a tight one. Get your predictions in. QPR, draw or Borough. Where are we going here? Draw, Rangers, draw. QPR with it. No, you don't need a joker for QPR. They are above Borough in the table. 2-1. There's a Borough, QPR, a draw. Borough, draw, QPR, Rangers, draw, Rangers, home, Borough, draw, Borough. We're all over the place. Again, I can say it with no sense of sitting on the fence whatsoever. Any one of the three outcomes, no one's going to be surprised in this one. Very evenly matched. I am going to play, not my 0-0. I'm going to play my joker, you lot. And controversially, away, I'm going to go with Middlesbrough on this one. I do think they've got enough there to shut out that really good QPR attack. And I just feel there's something in the air there with the momentum. So I'm going to go for a Borough clean sheet and a 1-0. Don't take it personally. 7-1. Big odds on that one. 7-1 over at betfair.com. I've gone for Middlesbrough with my joker to win at QPR. Head over to Football 365 and the predictor game there. My joker is played. It's gone. Are you going to play yours today? Are you going to play it on Preston versus Huddersfield? Get your predictions in, guys. North End, draw, Huddersfield. Preston, draw, Huddersfield. Preston, impressive. I think I calculated earlier 16 points in 9 for Ryan Lowe. That's very good. Cameron Archer, very good as well, the guy on loan from Villa. However, it's Huddersfield. And Huddersfield laugh in my face all season. They're on some kind of streak as well. I think they're like 10 or 11 undefeated if you put the FA Cup games in as well. So, as you know, people who watch the preview show regularly, I have come a cropper predicting Huddersfield many, many times this season. Will I come a cropper again? Preston, draw, Huddersfield, Preston, draw, or Huddersfield predictions in the numbers in the table. Huddersfield by 6. In the form, Huddersfield by 8. In the XG, Huddersfield by 2. Both sides, well, 12th and 14th, around halfway. Homes and aways, Huddersfield by 7. Goals scored. Huddersfield are in the top 6 for goals scored. And they win that one by 6 as well. And in terms of goals conceded, Huddersfield by 2. I believe that's a clean sweep for Huddersfield in all of the numbers. Does it make a difference to you, though? Because Preston are in pretty good nick, aren't they? What are we saying in this one? Where am I starting? Anyone got a starter? Starter for 10. There we go. Okay, draw, Preston, Preston. Huddersfield, draw, Huddersfield. Preston, draw, Preston, Huddersfield. Preston, draw. All over the place here. Let's just click on all of these. There you go. 10 unbeaten in the league, 12 overall. Some real tight fixtures this week, aren't they? I'm going to cower in fear at Huddersfield is what I'm going to do. Away! Let's go for it. I'm aboard the train. The last few times I've gone with them and it's worked and they are in good form. So I will be going with Huddersfield on this one, even though I do acknowledge Preston are in pretty good nick under Ryan Lowe. So I'm going to go for a 2-1-er, which means it's tight and I've got a goal for Preston in there. Remember, Huddersfield in the top 6 for goals scored. Head over to betfair.com if you fancy 2-1, 11-1. So not likely according to Betfair, but there we go. What do I know? And of course, head over to Football 365. Get on that predictor game. Couple. How many away wins have I got in there? 2 in a row. What am I like, hey? What am I like? What is Steve Bruce like, everybody? Brucey is back. Welcome back, Steve Bruce. And he's going to be taking his first West Brom game at Sheffield United, one of his many former clubs. Get your predictions in. Blades, draw, Baggies, Sheffield United, draw, or West Brom in this one. Sheffield United are top of the form table. But Brucey's back. He'll have them organised straight away. I dare say we will hear the words at some point come out of his mouth, be hard to beat or something of that nature. So could we see a low scorer? Maybe I'm revealing my hand slightly in this one. Here are your numbers on this one. In the table, Baggies by 4. In the form table, get this, Blades by 16. Sheffield United, top of the form table. West Brom with 3 defeats in 4. But we can give them all, pass them on to Big Val, who's gone. So read into that what you will. XG, Baggies by 4, but Blades in the top 6. Both sides in the top 6 for that. Homes and aways, Blades by 11. In fact, Baggies, over the last 8 games, are in the bottom 4 for away form. In terms of attacking and defending, the one stat that comes out still is that West Brom have the joint best defensive record, fewest goals conceded in the division. Sheffield United draw West Brom, Baggies draw Blades. Get your predictions in, and I will let you know what I think in just a jiffy. Where are we landing here? I think, are we starting there? Train will crash now you're on it. Oh, the Huddersfield one. Yeah, for sure it will. Right, here we go. Draw Baggies and the new manager bounce. Does Brucey bounce? Does Steve Bruce bounce? We'll find out, won't we? Brucey bonus. Draw. The new manager is bouncing. Blades, draw. Blades, draw. Blades, Baggies, draw. Baggies, Blades, draw. Blades. Let's keep clicking on these. Sorry if they don't get read out, but hopefully they're all going on the screen. I think you already know what I'm going to do, don't you? Anyone want to check in with Sean Dyche and Neil Warnock? Draw! I'm going to go for a 0-0. I had to play my 0-0 somewhere. I'm giving it to Brucey on this one. Can he shut out the informed Blades? I'm not sure he can beat them, but we all know he can set up to stop them because he's been able to do that for years and years. So maybe not exactly a new manager bounce, but I'm going to tap nothing, absolutely diddly squat into that Football 365 predictor game. 0-0. I'll go for 7-1 is what you will get for a 0-0 over at betfair.com. Get your predictions in Football 365 predictor game, football365.com. Betfair.com if you do fancy having a bet. Remember, please gamble responsibly, be gamble aware.org, 18 plus only. All of that good stuff. Only bet what you can afford. Onward, and here comes the awkward bit in the show each week where we have to predict Barnsley to lose every week, sadly. It's Luton versus Barnsley. Barnsley in utterly dreadful form. So we've been very consistently tipping against Barnsley recently. I think they've won something like 1 in, or you tell me in the chat, 1 in 14, 1 in 15, something crazy. They've won 2 in 28, and it could be a record-breakingly bad season for Barnsley, who are projecting 23 points at the moment, which would tie up Rotherham for the worst ever championship points tally. On the other hand, Luton are good, aren't they? We said in the preview show they'll likely make changes and still win at Cambridge fairly comfortably. They did. I think their games in hand are kind of slowed down that little spike they had from that. But it is 10 points in 5 for Luton, who are up in 9th and heading for that top 10 the way things are going. Get your predictions in. Luton draw Barnsley. Look, the numbers, obviously Barnsley's numbers are terrible, but we'll read them out anyway. So table, Luton by 15. Form, Luton by 19. XG, Luton by 17. Locational, Luton by 12. Luton are in the top 6 for goals scored. Barnsley are bottom. And Barnsley, of course, are in the bottom 6 for the most goals conceded. So let's get your predictions in on this one, even though it looks like a home runner for Luton at home, doesn't it? Let's dive in here. Luton. It's going to be predictable. Let's just click down these. We got one joker there. We'll hold Adam to that one. Go on. Get over at betfair.com if you genuinely think Barnsley are going to win this game. We'll click down as many of these as we can, as you can imagine. With Barnsley at the moment, until we see something to tell us otherwise, doesn't make a lot of sense to back them, does it? But a prediction is a prediction. We don't know what's going to happen, but I think this is going to be home. I am going to go behind Luton. Look, I won't go heavy. I'm going to go with a 2-goal victory for Luton in this one. 2-0 Luton is 11-2 with betfair.com. So go and get involved in that one and go and get on Football 365 and get your predictions in. It's a straightforward one for me, but I will happily sit here and give a round of applause if Barnsley go to Luton and win. on we go. And in keeping with a lot of games being difficult to call, good luck again with Coventry versus Blackpool, because they're tied on points and they are 12th and 13th in the table, whilst acknowledging, yes, Coventry have a couple of games in hand. And Coventry are at home. And Coventry have been okay across the fullness of the season at making home advantage count. They were very good at making home advantage count. But I think that narrative still does apply, doesn't it? Predictions in, please. Sky Blues draw, Poole, Coventry draw, or Blackpool in this one. The fly in the ointment here is that Blackpool are good at the moment. They've come back into form. 10 points in the last 4. Wins over Hull, Millwall, a draw with Fulham, very impressive, and Bristol City. There is some argument there. Those are nice fixtures, but they did go to Fulham and draw. So we have to factor that in and give Blackpool the praise they sort of deserve. I get the impression from the Coventry fans I speak to that they're kind of nearly there. They're playing all right. They're not quite piecing it together. And maybe that foresees a trend up in the future. Hasn't quite happened yet for Cov, has it? And they're a bit spotty at the moment. Loss at the moment. We'll do the numbers. You get your predictions in Coventry draw or Blackpool. Coventry draw, Blackpool. In the table, Cov by 1. In the form, Blackpool by 5. In the XG, Cov by 10. In terms of homes and aways, Blackpool by 3, which may go some way to debunk my theory about Coventry being better at home than Blackpool are away. They're not over the last 8 games anyway. And nothing really to write home about in terms of goals for or against, other than to say Coventry 8th best defensive numbers in the league. Maybe something in that in terms of Coventry being able to stop Gary Medine and Shane Lavery and whoever is up top for Blackpool in this game. Let's have a look at some predictions. Coventry and Blackpool. Where shall we dive in here? I think there is where we're starting with a 0-0. Coventry by 1. Desmond, Blackpool draw. Cov draw. And I think that means 0-0, doesn't it? Poole, Cov draw. We're all over the place, understandably. Cov draw, Cov draw, Cov. I think there's a few in there for Blackpool, but I think you're in the main heading slightly towards Cov without it being a home run. So I'm going to go with you lot and assume that the uptrend in Coventry is going to come and is going to sort of start here, really. So I'm going to go home, and I'll go for a home win for Coventry to win this one. It's not going to be a home run, like I said. So let's go for a 2-1er, and we'll give Blackpool some credit that they can go there and score for sure, and that it's not going to be an easy win for Coventry. Let's go 2-1 to Cov, and you will get 7-1 over at betfair.com on that one. 7-1 Coventry to beat Blackpool. Please gamble responsibly, and please go and sign up at Football 365 on the predicted game. It's almost like I talk too much. My voice is hurting. And go and get your predictions in. Right. Next up is Stoke versus Swansea, please. Stoke draw Swans. Potters draw Swansea. Stoke draw Swansea. Get your predictions in for this one, please. Stoke won in the FA Cup, didn't they? They beat Wigan. However, and this crept up on me, Stoke are 14th. We don't expect them to be down there, but they have just tailed off the last of the 3 seasons. Perhaps this one will be different. They have got games in hand, but you are where you are, and Stoke are 14th. So I don't know whether that keeps Michael O'Neill in a job come the approach to the end of the season. But yeah, maybe there are arguments for an upturn in Stoke's form. I think they've recruited quite well. Baker, Jagielka, Philogene, Bidas, Madger as well already started scoring. So look, for the last 3 years, we've predicted an upturn for Stoke, and it's frankly never come. But there's an argument for an upturn for Stoke. For Swansea, well, Patterson's back in. That's good news, isn't it? They beat Blackburn as well, which is a great result considering where Blackburn are in the table. It's kind of going to be a new look Swans now, isn't it? I think Fisher plays. I think Patterson returns. I think Wolf plays. Christie's now in for Laird. It's a different side that's going to finish the season than we saw in the first half. Let me give you your numbers. You get your predictions in. Stoke, draw, or Swansea. Stoke, draw, or Swansea. In the table, Stoke by 2. In the form, Stoke by 3. In the XG, Stoke by 9. In the homes and aways, Stoke are not very good at home, would you believe? Swansea aren't that great away from home, but they have it by 5 in the homes and aways. Swansea are low scorers and Stoke have a good defence. Let me repeat that. Swansea are in the bottom 6 for goals scored. Stoke are in the top 6 for goals conceded. That's in there. Stoke draw Swans. Stoke draw Swans. Predictions in. We'll read a few. We'll try and click all of them on the screen. Where do we start? Thank you for all your input here in the show. We could not do it without you. Please hit the like button as well. Right. 0-0. Stoke. 0-0. Draw Stoke. Few people playing the 0-0. That's not silly considering what I said about goals. Draw Stoke. Lots of 0-0s. Have I missed the boat here on the 0-0? Stoke, draw Swans, home, draw Stoke. Lots of 0-0s. Let's click down the rest of these. I've been trying to get Michael O'Neill sacked for nearly a year now. I haven't. I like Michael O'Neill very much, Chris. Fake news there, Chris. Stoke. Chris, you tell me. He will get sacked if he finishes 14th, won't he? For sure. One more down there. Swans 2-1. I've just got those last two stats ringing in my head. Swansea don't score many. Stoke don't concede many. Home. I'm going to go for a low scorer. See, I'm not trying to get Michael O'Neill sacked because I'm predicting his side's going to win 1-0 over at betfair.com. They'll give you 11-2 on that. Please go and get involved over at Football 365. Mark there. The boss does a great job trying to put, well, he's a Stoke fan, actually, and I've just predicted his side's going to win. So I won't butter him up anymore, but he does a great job trying to push championship content. So we do want you to go ahead and click on it. It really, really helps me and Mark justify it to the people who are even above them. So go and get involved in the predictor. We want to see the championship covered. We're trying on Football 365, but do take part in the predictor game. We have got 3 to go. It's Bristol City versus Reading. Please, predictions, Bristol City versus Reading. Let's lead off by saying neither of these sides are very good at defending. Reading have conceded 55, Bristol City 54. So they are bottom and second bottom in terms of goals conceded. Obviously, we need to acknowledge Peterborough have also conceded 55, but 109 goals conceded between them. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not good up the other end. Because don't tell me that Vyman, Semenyo, Martin, Wells, Ejaria, Zhao, Swift can't score. So have we got our high scorer in this one? We may do. Reading have lost 5 on the trot. And strangely, oddly, Bristol City are actually pretty consistent at home for a side that's damn inconsistent. Get your predictions in. Robins draw, Royals, Bristol City draw, or Reading in this one. Now, in the table, Bristol City by 4 with the acknowledgement that there's a points deduction to factor in. In terms of the form, rubbish. They're 20th and 24th, but Bristol City by 4. XG, rubbish. 20th and 24th, exactly the same. Bristol City by 4. Here's the two odd ones. Bristol City are good at home. Over the last 8 games, 3rd best home record in the league. And Bristol City are good going forward. They're in the top 6 for goals scored, whilst both of these teams are rubbish at defending, considering that 109 total. So there we go. Maybe a high scorer edging towards Bristol City. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. But let's say a big thanks to Jeff, who's done me a super chat here. Thank you, Jeff. £5 super chat, very kind. I think at home we will banish any lingering doubts. No, I don't think you're going down, Jeff. We're scoring quite well. If only we could keep the goals against down. Well, absolutely. Where are we starting with all the predictions? Let's get as many up on the screen as we can. I love it. A 3-3 to start off with. You love to see it. Right, Bristol City, 0-0. Okay. Bristol City draw. We'll click on as many of these as we can. I'll try and flag up the Reading predictions because I'm not seeing many at all. We got a couple of draws, but in the main, a high scorer for Bristol City. So, yeah, maybe that person who put 0-0 is on the right track. Home! I'm going to go for Bristol City, and I'm going to go for the goals to keep flying in. Let's go. Sadly, I'm going to go for them to keep flying in the Reading net, which would be another defeat for the Royals. We'll talk about Cardiff in a minute, obviously. Let's go. Oh, wrong way round. Sorry, you lot. We'll go 3-1 Bristol City on this one. 13-1, but it's not beyond the realms of possibility. Bristol City score 3. They've done it a few times recently, especially if Mr. Vyman is firing. Up next, Derby County versus Hull. Get your predictions in. Derby, draw, Hull. Derby, draw, or Hull. Are we off the crest of the wave for both teams here? Derby, they were really streaking towards, possibly having a chance of staying up, which, considering they had a 21-point deduction, is quite something. But 1 point in the last 3. And what I would say about Derby, we've said all season Derby have a good defence. Are they missing Phil Jagielka? Because they conceded 2 against Forest, 2 against Birmingham, and 2 against Huddersfield. They have started to ship goals. We know in football, if you concede 2 a game, it's hard to win. Maybe go back to Bristol City on that point. Hull, well, everything was lovely and rosy and happy and takeover and embargo lifted and a good transfer window, all of that jazz. 3-game winning streak, but they lost at home to Preston in the last game. So I don't know. Are we going to get this weird Hull pattern of they won 4 on the trot, bit of a losing streak or non-winning streak. Then they won 3 on the trot, bit of a losing streak coming? I don't know. I'm more optimistic about Hull than I was. Get your predictions in, guys, please. Hull, draw, Derby, Hull, draw, or Derby. Sorry, wrong way round. Derby, draw, or Hull. Derby are the home team. I reiterate, sorry, my mistake. Again, in the table, it's Hull by 4, but obviously with the mitigating factor of the points deduction, the real league table would have Derby at 21 on 5 points ahead of Hull. In terms of the form, it's Derby by 5. XG, Hull by 2, but they're both in the bottom 6. Homes and aways, Derby by 3. Goals scored, both low, if anyone hasn't played their 0-0 card yet. And Derby, even though I've just criticised their defending over the last 3, they're still in the top 6 for goals conceded. And for a side with such poor resources, we do still need to give credit to Rooney and Rossignol for that being the case. Final call for predictions, please. Derby, draw, Hull. Derby, draw, or Hull. Let's see what you lot are saying in the chat. Where am I starting? Here, Hulster. Derby 3-2. He doesn't think it's going to be a low scorer. Hull, Hull. Derby, Hull. Derby, draw. Derby, Hull, Hull. Derby, Derby, draw. Derby, draw. Derby, Hull, draw. Derby, Hull. We're all over the place here. Derby, draw. Derby, Derby. Both teams haven't scored in the last 6 Hull games. Interesting stat. That Hull by 1. Derby, Derby. I'm right down the middle on this one. The stats tell us that Derby are actually a better side than Hull, even though Hull's recent form is good. There is the mitigating factor of, recency bias in terms of Hull. So I think everything's just too tight for me. Draw! Let's go for an unhelpful draw. Well, let's be quite frank. I don't really I think Hull are far enough away given how slow people are scoring below them. Look, they're playing against Derby, so that's kind of a rival given they're 17 points ahead. So it's an unhelpful draw more for Derby than it is for Hull. But I'm going to go for a 1-1er in this one, which would be very unhelpful for Derby, who need wins. We had that surge in good feeling towards Derby, but they need to win games for that to continue. I'm going to go for a draw in this one. 5-1 with Betfair. If you fancy that one, please gamble responsibly and do head over to Football 365 and get involved in the predictions. Last one is Cardiff versus Peterborough. Now, I think this is a really big game. And I did immediately get shot down. Oh, it's too early in the season. But if Cardiff were to beat Peterborough here, they would be 12 points ahead of them. And at the moment, there is zero evidence to tell us that Peterborough would make up a 12-point gap over Cardiff, which would then kind of, if that is the case, kind of give us four teams for relegation. So I think this is a big game, barring, obviously, the small possibility of Peterborough or Derby having a massive streak all the way to catch up Cardiff between now and the end of the season. So I'm not trying to overhype it, but this is a big game and it really could fence off, certainly for now in everybody's eyes, that relegation zone to 4 teams rather than a bottom 5 or a bottom 6. So it's Cardiff versus Peterborough. Get your predictions in. Cardiff draw, Posh, Cardiff draw, or Posh. We saw Cardiff on the watch along. But look, they were playing away at Liverpool, for goodness sake, weren't they? They're without Kiefer Moore, but Cardiff have won their last 2 games, haven't they? They beat Forest and they beat Barnsley. Again, no disrespect to Barnsley fans, but everyone's beating Barnsley at the moment. Not everybody's beating Forest, though, are they? So put that in your pipe and smoke it. Peterborough, sorry, Posh fans, again, we have to address the elephant in the room that Peterborough are awful away from home. And they were close to an away win at Birmingham, but sides that are not very good away from home do get 2-0 up and then throw it all away, in the words of Freddie Mercury, at the end of the game. Get your predictions in. Cardiff draw, Posh, Cardiff draw, Peterborough. The numbers aren't great reading either way around. So table, Cardiff by 2. And we do have to factor in the Reading points deduction. No, we don't, actually. No, my mistake. It would still be by 2, wouldn't it? Because Reading only 6-point deduction and Derby would be above both of them. Forget that. Let's not factor in a points deduction. In the form, Cardiff by 4, but it's 18th and 22nd. XG, Cardiff by 7, but it's 16th and 23rd. This is snail race in this game, isn't it? Homes and aways, 21st and 22nd. Cardiff by 1. And then goals. Well, they're both Peterborough in the bottom 6 for goals scored and goals conceded, and Cardiff are in the bottom 6 for goals conceded. So I think it all just levels itself out. It's just not very good for either side. Let's get your predictions then, guys. Cardiff draw, Posh. Cardiff draw, Posh. Are Cardiff going to fence off that relegation zone? And then it's 3 from 4 down at the bottom as things stand. Let's see what you lot are saying in the chat. Here we go. Cardiff for Wayne. Posh says the Joker for Carl. It does have to be the Joker, I'm afraid, with Posh's away form, even though they're only 2 points below, or 2 places rather below. Posh, a couple of Posh wins there. In fact, there's 3. Right, here's some more. Cardiff, Posh, Cardiff, draw. The Joker on Posh. We had a few people who do believe in the Posh. Sorry if I'm not reading your predictions out. I'll try and click on as many as we can. Can we avoid, Hulster, these boring comments? We had one of these yesterday. We bring the statistics up for fun, yeah? The only information we have in life is stuff that's happened in the past. If you want to give me any numbers that have happened in the future, please feel free. But yeah, look, it gets a bit reductive to say that statistics prove nothing. What else do you want to do? Just predict things. So yeah, let's try and avoid those boring comments. We got one of those yesterday as well. Triggered me just as much yesterday as it has done today. Look, unfortunately, I think it's boring because it would mean fencing off of the relegation zone. But home, I've got to go for Cardiff. I have got to do it, I'm afraid. I'm going to go for a 2-1. So I've got Posh to score, but I'm afraid that dreadful away record, I can't see it changing in this one. 7-1. Cardiff to beat Posh 2-1. Get involved over on betfair.com. Please gamble responsibly. And also, Football 365, get your predictions in. Right, let's do some Q&A while we're still here, and there's plenty of you watching. Get your questions in. Please hit that like button as well. Really helps me out on YouTube. And please hit the subscribe button. I think we're 20,650 or thereabouts. So please hit that subscribe button as well and grow our numbers. Let's do a refresh here on my predictions as ever. Please don't take them personally. My predictions have no effect on the final result of the game, so please don't bother telling me you're happy that I've predicted your team to lose. Don't take it personally or take any emotional response to my predictions. It's just a bit of fun. Right, I've got Derby and Hull drawing. I've got Coventry. I've got Fulham. I've got Stoke all winning. I've got Luton winning. I've got Blades and Baggies drawing. I've got Bristol City winning. I've got Rovers and Forest drawing. I've got Cardiff winning. I've got Preston losing at home to Huddersfield. I've got Bournemouth winning, and I've got Middlesbrough winning. I forgot I did that. That was my joker, wasn't it? So my predictions, a £10 bet could net you, look at that, 114 grand. Nice work if you can get it. Head over to Football 365, hit submit, hit confirm, and up, 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 and away we go. Get your questions in. We'll do a bit of Q&A to finish off the stream. Any questions? Any questions? Kevin, why do I talk about Liverpool so much? Well, apparently I am a closet Liverpool fan. Well, there you go. What else have we got? Hulster. I work in statistics data. I never met you. You're very welcome, Hulster. I had a very annoying comment yesterday from someone telling me about telling me that we shouldn't look back at any of the evidence. It's like, well, what else are we going to talk about? But there you go, Hulster. I will issue a public apology to the Hulster there in the chat. Michael, what are my thoughts on Mel Morris offering to indemnify? That's a great word, isn't it? Indemnify. Darby and Borough and Wickham claims. Michael, I think it's good if it gets, whether it's the right thing or the wrong thing, and let's not have a big partisan debate about this because it all goes to hell in a handbasket pretty quickly. If it gets it finished quickly and it gets everyone to shut up, then great. And if, as some people do believe, Steve Gibson's issue is not with Darby and it is with Mel Morris, which it might be, I know, it might not. We're all speculating, isn't it? Then fine. You know, go and argue in the High Court and leave the rest of us alone. Right, let's keep going. Favourite wrestler finishing manoeuvre. It's got to be the big leg drop by Hulk Hogan, hasn't it? QPR forever. The legend Hulk Hogan. Ipswich have 7,000 fans. Oh, referee Langford. Oh, no. That'll upset I don't want to be a cynic, Jamie, but there's nothing more predictable than Ipswich taking 7,000 fans to MK and losing 1-0. Newcastle Everton tonight, very interesting. Agreed. Huddersfield, 12 games unbeaten in all competitions. Do you now think it's time to dare to dream? No, I'm a big, horrible curmudgeon. I don't think Huddersfield will finish in the playoffs, but Huddersfield have been just making a mockery of my predictions, so they probably will go and do it now, but I just think there are other teams that might have a little bit more in the tank. Ben, you ever getting any bother at a game at Wolves? Sounds like there was some after we've been. Do you know what? I have got in some bother at the end of a game of Wolves. I remember Ipswich losing 1-0 and Kevin Muscat scoring in the last minute possibly. And there was this this Wolves fan walking out. I was only a kid as well. And he was giving it the big up. And he went, what did he say? He said, you guys are not going to get promoted. You're gonna stay in this division with us. And I turned around and said to him, okay, well, at least we haven't spent 35 million to stand still, which was obviously very silly of me. And he wanted to take a swing at me, and his mates told him to think. He was a grown adult, I have to say, and I was a teenager. But there you go. So I've got in some bother outside Wolves there. But yeah, you always get those people when you're walking out of the game and they're with one other person and they're speaking loudly enough for everybody to hear. In fact, you get those people inside the game where you want to turn around to them and say, who are you talking to? You're literally just yelling your opinion out for anyone who can listen. So don't be triggered when somebody replies. Good question, that, Ben. You must know my past. JC, do you think the process at Blues are effective and will end up pushing the owners out? Yes, I think they're effective in terms of getting them to listen, but no, I don't think they'll end up pushing the owners out. So sorry to be completely pedantic with the answer. Wednesday and Wigan, big game. Yes, we'll be covering that tonight. Might sound ridiculous as a Cardiff fan. I'm interested. Cardiff have got 18 games left and need 16 points to playoffs. Do you think if Cardiff get a good run in stats? No, I don't. Cardiff are just not in any way, shape or form. In my head, a playoff team, we'd be looking at something like 10 wins in 12 for them to, not, and then there's the matter of traffic. But no, they've just got to reshape and retool and move away. What is the name of the pot plant? Anyone wants to name the pot plant? Wilberforce? I don't know. Do you think Steve Cooper will have a Premier League job within 2 years? Yes. Yeah, probably. He's a good manager, hasn't he? Would you ever do a boxing match with Thogdad? Isn't Thogdad a lot older than me? Look, I would probably lose a boxing match to most people other than my little 6-month-old daughter. I may have a big mouth on here, but I'm 5 feet 8.5, and probably so no, I wouldn't. But well, it depend on the charity, and it depends if I'm going to get punched in the face or not. But probably not. Who do I think will get promoted and relegated? Will Achilles will do a full video on that, probably with 10 to go. Villa Leeds tomorrow. Hulster, clean match or an incident? There's going to be an incident, isn't there? Surely. Especially with fans back in. Always a bit of needle in that one. I was there, in fact, with the... I was at both games that season in 18-19, wasn't I? Yeah, and that was the one where Albert Adone was allowed to walk the ball in. What else have we got? Best goal you've ever seen scored live? Possibly. Look it up. Leighton Baines for Wigan at Portman Road. What a goal. Ridiculous. David, does QPR have enough fire to power to remain in the top 6? Yes. In terms of firepower, David, very, very much so. Check out Football 365. We've done a little look at the XG or in terms of QPR. And other than Charlie Austin, strangely, they're all outperforming the XG up the top end there. Chair, Willock, Dykes even as well, and Gray. So firepower, yes. Can they keep the ball out of the other end? They're improving big style, but firepower for sure. James, Blades make the playoffs. The current trend is that they will make the playoffs. And I think this was the person trying to wind me up yesterday. I said Sheffield United, they've got 19 points in 8 games. If they get 19 points in the next 8 games, they're probably going to be pushing for the playoffs. And this pedantic person said, well, you can say that about a lot of teams. Well, you can say that about anyone. But my point was that it's very justified to say that about Sheffield United because they've just done that. So can they do it again? Look, there's traffic. Forest, Middlesbrough, Luton, West Brom are in there. Huddersfield are in there on merit. QPR as well. But should be a powerful squad for Sheffield United. Stephen, yeah, we know that. I don't see the term overachieving as a compliment. Well, Stephen, you're entitled to your opinion. I think that's ridiculous. I don't see how the term overachieving can be anything other than a compliment. Again, you're entitled to your opinion, but I think that's ridiculous. I think overachieving is just period a compliment, isn't it? And to talk about a team that's been in non-league within the last 6 years, being ninth, and to not say that they're overachieving given where they've come from, and to take that not as a compliment, I think is really poor, to be honest, because, yeah. So if you ever hear me use overachieving for a team, and I'm going to use it right now, I think QPR are overachieving in 4th to be above parachute teams. I think Huddersfield are overachieving in 5th by miles. I think Luton are overachieving in 9th. Maybe not Coventry. I think 12th might be within reason. But if anyone perceives that as not a compliment, that is on them, I'm afraid. And you can perceive any word that I might use in any way you like. All we can do in life is put our opinions out into the ether, and then it's up to people how they perceive them. But no, overachieving. If your club is called an overachiever, take that as a compliment for sure. Unless you're Man United or something like that, and you're one of the biggest in the world. But there you go. Desmond, the pot plant. Call the plant Mark, the angriest Cardiff fan. He was angry, wasn't he? Prediction for top 6. Yeah, later, JC. There'll be 6 teams in it. There we go. Rate away fans this season in the Championship. Oh, God. I'll get in all sorts of trouble. Watch along tomorrow. Yeah, probably, and tonight. We'll try and super stream it tonight. What else have we got? Do you think Barnsley will win another game before the end of the season? Yes, I think. Yes, of course. Not guilty. It wasn't you, James. Don't worry. I know very well. That Joe Garner goal against Rotherham was the best goal I've ever seen. I would love to have been there, and I'm a very big Joe Garner fan. Obviously, there you go. There's a good way to see. That's probably a more sensible way of going about the overachievement comment. Yeah, ask me to qualify it. Who's underachieving? Let me tell you who I think is underachieving. I can't say West Brom are underachieving because they're in the top 6. I can say Sheffield United are, because I think they should be in the top 6 with their squad. They might get there. Stoke, I think, are underachieving in 14th. Millwall, is that fair? Given they're 15th, I expect them to be higher. I expect Bristol City to be higher than 17th. I don't know whether underachieving is unfair. Reading, given Cardiff, I don't know, given off-pitch issues. But I would say Sheffield United and Stoke should probably be higher than 10th and 14th. There we go. Overachievement is... Oh, well, I don't play Football Manager anymore. Is that a term regularly used in Football Manager? I will plead the fifth on that. As a Huddersfield fan, we're overachieving massively. Absolutely. You say the pundits had you. I had you 23rd, broken Humpty Dumpty. So I would hope if we say Huddersfield are overachieving, you would take that as a big compliment. What else have we got? Predictions for Town Doncaster game. Hopefully Ipswich can squeak out a win by 1 goal. There you go. There you go. Chris has got his top 6 in there. I'll do mine at some point. There you go. Plenty in there. Barnsley underachieving. It's difficult, Nat, when a team has had a complete collapse, isn't it? Because you start to be able to not see the wood for the trees. You know, when a team's changed managers and it's gone terribly wrong and changed system, you know, it's very, very difficult. Geez, of course, Steve. No, Stephen, it's all debate. It's all a debate. And we always say on this channel, hopefully I always say, anybody in that chat, you're entitled to disagree with me on anything. And it's your right. If you find underachievement an insult, fine. Absolutely fine. I've got no issues with that, so long as I have the right to disagree. Because the problem we have on YouTube, if I can have a little bit of a rant, and this does not apply to 99% of you in the chat right now. The problem we have on YouTube a lot of the time is people will disagree with me. Believe you me, I wake up every morning, I open my phone, and there will be 5 to 10 people disagreeing with me and having a pop at me. That's fine. I've just said that it's absolutely fine to have a different opinion to me, and I respect that. That's okay. As long as you don't personally insult me, fine, have a different opinion. The issue I have on YouTube is what happens a lot of the time is people will disagree with me over and over again. I would see it coming in the chat. If I then have a little pop back and disagree back, they unsubscribe and they get very cross and they tweet stuff like, oh, Benjamin Bloom can't take any criticism. And it's like, really? It's me that can't take any criticism. Believe you me, we get criticised all day long. So I am more than happy for people to disagree. But if you disagree with me publicly and I respond, don't go throw your toys out of the pram. As long as I don't insult anybody or call anyone a name, that's crossing the line. I know that. But that's the issue we have sometimes on YouTube. And yes, it can seem very personal. You know, the guy with the microphone disagreeing publicly. But I think we should be able to be grown up and maturing enough, to agree and disagree without name calling. And do you know what's annoying me at the moment, guys? Sorry, I'm going off on a rant now. There's this trend at the moment for people on Twitter when they disagree with someone, they say, oh, that's a weird opinion or that's odd. And it's a little snide dig. It's like, don't call somebody weird. You know, basically what you're saying is you disagree with them. Don't call them weird or don't say that's a weird opinion because it's not the same as yours. Someone having a different opinion to you and their opinion being weird are two different things. And please call people out on that on Twitter. If you put your opinion and someone says, oh, that's weird. No, that's a veiled way of someone having a little snide dig at you, basically because you think something different to them. Yeah? There you go. Sorry. Big ramble there. Big ramble. Sorry. Any more question? Top 3 best footballing sides in the league. Goodness me. Fulham, for sure. QPR I find very, very entertaining. I mean, define footballing, Callum. It's all about winning at the end of the day, isn't it? Arguably, Cardiff were a very good footballing side when they got promoted in 17 and 18. Were they flowing and aesthetically pleasing? Probably not. Did they get promoted? Yes, they did. I like Luton. I like the way they play on transition. I like Coventry early in the season. Horses for courses, isn't it? Everyone's entitled to their opinion. Cherry Pepsi or Lucozade in a can. Cherry Pepsi, Kevin K. For me, of course, you can disagree. Like we said, we all have, absolutely. But please, everybody, like I said, one more reiterating that point. If you disagree with me in the chat and I come back, don't get all sad about it and unsubscribe because I've essentially just done exactly the same thing with my platform that you've done with your platform. So There we go. What grinds my gears? Absolutely. And there's a luck factor. When's best to play any other team because they're weak? And who's the luckiest team around? That would be a really good, if someone did a luck metric, they looked into the position of every team when you played them and the amount of or percentage of available first team players. I would love to be able to do the research on that if anyone's got the time. Blades have 12 left at home. There you go. There's an argument for a Blades playoff push as well, isn't it? Jimmy, listen to everyone. Exactly. Jimmy, the story I tell, and I've always told on the channel and will continue to tell, is I went to see Bryan Cranston from Breaking Bad give a seminar in a theatre, and Bryan Cranston told a story, and basically the punchline of the story is that the guy hanging up the lights on Saturday Night Live came up with the punchline for one of the jokes. So always listen to everybody who's around. And yes, you may have 10 of the world's best comedy writers all in the room, but if the lighting guy says the funniest thing, listen to him. Look, I watched the Championship all year. People pay me money to do it. That's not to say any one of you can have a better idea than me at any point, and I can go, oh, that's a good point. Do you know what I mean? So always listen. Yeah, always listen. Favorite Winter Olympic sport? Ben H. It's got to be Eddie the Eagle Edwards. So the down the slope and jump. What do you call that? Ski jumping, I guess. As a Fulham fan, I think Bournemouth will sack Parker Ball at the end of the season. Hey, if they don't go up, they may well do. Favorite album? Oh, God, there's too many, Ross. You've got to understand, I like a lot of music from the 70s. Oh, God, can I list a few? Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, the double album, Elton John, David Bowie, Hunky Dory, Sheer Heart Attack, Queen. I'll tell you what, a recent one I really love, American Idiot. The first 7 tracks on that are incredible. Pet Sounds, Beach Boys, Abbey Road, Beatles. Oh, God. First Duran Duran I really like. First Eminem as well. God, too many. Absolutely too many. Anything else? We've got Speed Skating, as long as Barry Davis is comment on it. So you're not a punk rocker. No, I wouldn't. You wouldn't call. I like Green Day, but they're kind of pop punk, aren't they? So yeah, there you go. Oh God, Blur, absolutely. Blur, Oasis in the 90s, love it. Absolutely. I always like Suede as well from the 90s and Pulp. I love all that Britpop stuff. Favorite UB40 track? Would you believe when I was at school, I absolutely loved their cover of I Can't Help Falling in Love with You by Elvis. I thought that was great, but I don't particularly understand reggae. So yeah, I'm a bit of a fair weather fan. Oh God, which AC/DC album would I throw in there? It's difficult with AC/DC. You have to split. Maybe Power Age from AC/DC. Scorpions, Fly to the Rainbow. U2, oh God, the first. Do you know what? I actually prefer Actung Baby. It's a bit arty for U2, but the first 4 tracks of the Joshua Tree are something ridiculous, like Where the Streets Have No Name, With or Without You, Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For, and another one as well. So the start of that U2 album is tremendous. Baby Come Back with Pato Banton. Killers. Yeah, God, I had that Hot Fuss album. That was incredible in about 2004 or something, wasn't it? Disco 2000. What a tune, hey. Pulp. I met Jarvis Cocker once. He was very, very charming to me as well. Best Championship manager as a player. Well, I think arise Sir Wayne Rooney on that. And I'm going to do something I hate. And it's not even close, is it, for Rooney? I did that as a video earlier in the season. So do check that one out. Freddie or Jagger to front your band. Look. Let's put it this way. Say they were both amazing, and Jagger couldn't sing a Queen song to save his life, and Freddie couldn't sing a Stone song to save his life. But there you go. Pearl Jam, Peter Andre. On that bombshell, we will end the stream. Thank you, everybody, for joining me today. Please hit like before you go. And we're going to see you tonight. We'll do some kind of super stream or watch along. And I will see you all very soon. Thank you for watching. Over. and out. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button and to be notified every time we upload. Ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.